Hello and welcome back to Overwatch Everyday. Today we're going to be continuing our support playthrough, trying to get through these placements the best that we can. Yesterday going 2-0 in our support games. I'm kind of happy about it, but we are definitely in a rank that we will probably be climbing through fairly quickly here. Yesterday we were talking a good bit about what sort of jobs are, what DLC value can look like, especially on Kiriko, and then also denying the enemy team from playing the game on main support and heroes like Brigitte. I think ideally we're going to be leaning into the sort of main support roles again, heroes like Lucio, Brig, Mizuki, maybe a little bit of Cat here. Talking about more of that sort of denial mindset as we play through the game. So here we see Blizzard World, Eichenwalde, and New Junk City. I'm pretty happy with any of these. Looking like it is going to be Eichenwalde though. Pretty kind of a dive-centric map, but you can be playing a lot of different comps here. Brawl might struggle a little bit due to just the super oppressive high grounds on second point, but we're going to just try to pick the best that we can around our team. Now, support bans are going to be some of the most impactful bans that any team can really do here. So understanding and making sure that you have the heroes that you want to play, and at least being able to play like 3 supports as you climb through the ladder is going to be pretty important in case 2 of them get banned out. Because especially if you're trying to like one trick like Kiriko or Lucio or Alari, those heroes are going to get banned pretty frequently, so just making sure that you are able to venture a little bit outside of those hero pools could be a very useful tool to actually climbing. But here, only support ban that we see is Ana on this map, which is definitely a-okay. Almost every time that Ana is banned or places where you'd want to play Ana, you can slot in Kiriko fairly safely. Looking like we're going to have a Reinhardt and a Wu Yang though. Kind of an interesting combo. Pharah leaning us a little bit more into a poke direction, very slow. We want to enable our team to pump in their damage as much as possible. Our Pharah is going to be wanting to just have a lot of time to shoot their rockets. Our Wu Yang is not going to provide a lot of speed for our Reinhardt or any brawlers to really get in there. So when I'm looking at this, I'm thinking, what can I do to enable our heroes the best while still find my own individual value to carry this game? Heroes like Baptiste are going to be pretty strong here. Kiriko is going to be strong. We want to lean away from lower heal comps or lower heal supports because we want to make sure that our team is able to stay alive and use their poke damage as much as possible. But we do end up swapping off of the Pharah and the Hanzo. We still are on the Wu Yang. We don't have the speed boost, but we are leaning in a much more brawly direction. Baptiste is still more than okay here. But now back on the Pharah, Bap is just going to be still a really good pick. It's going to be a little bit more difficult for us to heal our Pharah here. Maybe a Kiriko might be the best play, but just thinking about how we want to be approaching this game is we want to keep everybody up as much as we can and finding our own sort of damage value whenever we can, just weaving in shots whenever we can and poking out any low HP targets or people out of position. Here we see the Sigma trying to poke us down, but we find the kill onto the Junkrat as well as the Sojourn pretty early, and because of those 2 kills, our team is able to walk up and snowball the rest of the game because of it, making sure that I'm very careful not to step up too quickly or too aggressively, because dying first when you're on these flex support heroes will not only mean that it's harder for your team to live, but it will also mean that you have a lot less carry potential over the game. You're not going to be able to weave in as much damage, find as many kill opportunities, or have nearly as many opportunities to like save people. So making sure that you want to be dying ideally last on flex support heroes like Kiriko, Baptiste, Moira is going to be like really important. So here we see our Pharah falling low a little bit. We want to try to keep everybody's uptime the best that we can. So we're going to back up to carry our Pharah so they're able to continue shooting their rockets and poking as much as they can. And the Sojourn unfortunately trades out our Pharah, but because they're in a really dangerous spot, we are able to clean it up. I want to see the Sigma drop low ground, and we're going to be using our window here to try and clean up the rest of the team. Knowing that it's only the Sigma in our backline, I did not turn around to care people because the kills that I could have gotten with my window there would have been, it was much more likely for me to kill more people than their Sigma were to kill us. Ideally, when you have advantages in the fight though, it's really important to not trade out people, but I was very confident that, especially with our other support sitting on the cart where the Sigma was fluxing, that we wouldn't actually like lose anyone too valuable and we'd be able to steamroll to the final parts of this point. Our winging walks up a little bit too much, so we're going to be using our exo boots, making sure that, especially on Baptiste, exo boots are going to be a really big part of your kit and how you find a lot of that like additional value that I was talking about, as well as making a lot of it's a big part of your survivability as well. So anytime you're feeling like kind of threatened or pressured, just being able to go up into the air and make a lot of distance for a few seconds can be a very, very strong tool. Here, we're going to get into the best spot that we can to actually clean up this fight. Don't really want to get onto the cart because I think if I back up to the cart, nobody's going to be able to kill our Pharah, or heal our Pharah. Maybe window could have been saved there. If they had more ultimates to match, I think that window could have been really strong, but using it that prematurely when our team was already using ult on cart, already had such an advantage brawl, maybe wasn't the best. Maybe I could have saved window there, but ultimately we capped the point. We were able to snowball that big fight, that big, or all of our ultimates into the point win, so it's not that big of a deal in the end. But maybe a better team or a team that would be able to come back with their own ultimates would punish that mistake. So here, looking like we're going to be on the exact same comp. Baptiste is going to be very, very strong, especially on this point, or this first point, where we're going to have that like central, like back high ground to kite to with our exo boots. It's going to be a very, very safe play for us to just be able to back up, and it's going to be hard for the enemy team to get onto us. A hero like Kiriko is going to be very good in almost any, like on almost every point on every map. And Baptiste is going to struggle a little bit due to the lack of mobility sometimes, but they are going to have raw, like better raw numbers. They're going to be able to heal a little bit harder. They're going to be able to shoot a little bit harder, but they're going to give up some survivability that Kiriko has, as well as having a worse ultimate. But understanding that our team loves to be playing into that numbers game, our Ryan's going to be taking a lot of damage, our Pharah's going to be doing a lot of damage. If we're able to sort of omit the survivability and the better ultimate and just deny their plays with our own damage rather than denying them kills with our mobility, it's going to be definitely a path to win. There's value in raw numbers, and there's ways to win when you don't have more traditional heroes. But it's important to recognize what heroes you're on or what heroes you're picking actually do. With Baptiste, I just want to be trying to maximize my numbers as much as I can, shooting whenever I can, so that they're going to have the least amount of chance to actually like walk us down. Because if they're able to get the chance to walk us down, if they're able to get the chance to ever breathe or stabilize, it's going to be pretty scary for us. So here, even right now, because I see their divas out of mech, I'm going to be poking up towards their spawn room, trying to make it as hard as possible for them to get any real stabilization. But now that their diva's back in mech, we're going to go back to living and still trying to pump in damage wherever we can, but it's now going to be a little bit too risky for us to be playing that far up. We hear our Earth Shatter come out from our Reinhardt, and we are able to step off of that, knowing that their diva is busy fighting our Reinhardt or potentially stunned by our Earth Shatter means that we have a lot of space that we can take to further maximize our numbers, be able to shoot more, be able to walk up and heal our Reinhardt who's fighting up towards their spawn, and just knowing that we are going to be safe while doing that. Diva uses their boosters. This is another chance for me to step up, as well as our Mei uses ultimate. So the enemy team is going to be really busy with That's a really unfortunate lamp. That's funny though. It's got stuck in there. With our team using so many ultimates in their spawn once more, it's going to be another opportunity for us to walk up and get our own individual value, making sure that the rest of our team doesn't die, and cleaning up whatever they are committing. Bubble comes out. They're going to be using their rush. We just want to make sure that they don't die. They're going to have a lot of ults coming up here, and Pharah is going to find their way onto us. We don't have our lamp, but fortunately, we are able to live it. Fashion Form comes out. Our team still wants to be fighting. We still have our window. If they look to commit here, I'm probably going to window. They use a lot of their ultimate abilities, so they're not going to have that much. They commit their Ramatra form, and our Reinhardt starts to take aggression, so we're going to use our window to just clean up this fight really quickly, but this is going to put us in a disadvantage for next fight, and we're going to have to actually play pretty darn careful. Now, we're not going to be able to win through our raw numbers when they have more ults than us. We're going to have our barrage, we're going to have our Earth Shatter coming up here, but they are very, very close to their Valkyrie and their barrage themselves. So I'm actually going to be playing at the back, like really far back here, to make sure that I'm able to lamp and use our immortality field to care this Pharah barrage. But because the Pharah just jumped into our team, we're able to find that frag. I was very careful there to be ready to react to the barrage if they just tried to use it on me to solo kill me. I wanted to keep my exit boots charged, and I wanted to be ready to just look down and lamp immediately so I stay alive and just find any way to get that ult out. But now their Pharah is going to be back in the fight in just 1 second here. They're going to have a lot of ultimates. They're looking for their own barrage. Our Pharah is able to find their Pharah first with our own barrage, which is amazing. But because so many of us go down, it's going to be actually harder for us to win. And we pop our window, trying to clutch up in any way that we can, but our lamp unfortunately goes down just a little bit too early. It buys enough time and gets enough kills for our team to get back ahead into this fight. It's now going to be a 3v3 or a 3v4 on the point. Barrage comes out, Rush comes out from the enemy team, and it's going to be, unfortunately, just too hard for us to actually clean up that fight. Ult advantage is going to be something really important to consider on any role, and especially when you're on support, because you're going to have some really impactful ultimates with your Beat, with your Kitsune, with Nano. There's going to be a lot of very big ultimates in the support role. Very valuable ults, so understanding how to use them best is going to be a very important part of actually climbing the ranks. Unfortunately there, my window did not find enough value to win that fight, but if I used it a little bit earlier, we would have no way to match what the enemy team was trying to do on point later. I do believe that using window like that was probably our only chance of winning. And we're a little bit scared for our soldier here, but the Reaper does overextend and we clean him up. So we're just going to try to sit on this high ground as much as possible. We see that it's only our soldier that's taking damage. As long as we're checking in on him occasionally, it should be fine. Our Mei drops a point and does go down. We know that our Reinhardt's on low ground, finds a huge shatter, which is amazing. But we're just going to try to be as much of a nuisance and just pestering their team as much as possible from this high ground, which they're not contesting us on. And we are going to farm another window immediately. We're going to open up space for our team to walk forward. We're going to be in a good spot to heal our team during the mid-fight once they start fighting. Identifying the spots that the enemy team can't pressure you in and then finding your way to them is going to be really important. We know that the Reaper is behind us right now, and our soldier finds their way to fight him. Unfortunately, we're not able to save our soldier. I probably could if I charged my exo boots a little bit earlier, but when the Reaper went behind me, I did recognize that he was there. That's why I charged my exo boots and went to this high ground. But my job, even if you're getting pressured, if you have to completely omit your job to sort of deal with that pressure, it's going to be really rough. And I missed my lamp, so my Reinhardt does die there, but we do use 3 ultimates to clean up. We did not need Bubble there, nor did we need Blizzard. Our Mei is walking up to their spawn. I think probably just kind of egotistical. They could definitely swap and touch the point, but it looks like that's not going to be the case in this game, and we're going to close this one out. A lot of winning that game and a lot of carrying that game is just finding spots that the enemy team wasn't going to be able to pressure me on, and just pumping out as much numbers as I possibly could on the hero, because that is the advantage of Baptiste. If you are in a situation where you are not, if you're on a map or a situation where it's actually going to be kind of hard for the enemy team to pressure you, Baptiste can be a really strong hero to carry and ranked on. But otherwise, if you think that the enemy team is going to get onto you pretty frequently, if you think that it's going to be kind of difficult for you to live or win 1v1s or find any real poke value with your Baptiste, then it might be worth going to a different hero, something like Kiriko, something like Ana, something that will prioritize just living and healing a little bit more. But Kiriko's always a safe bet because they have very good numbers themselves. They have very good survivability. They have the best ultimate in the game. Kiriko is one of the strongest heroes right now, and I recommend, if you're a main support, if you're a flex support, being able to pick up Kiriko into your kit is going to be a very valuable tool to be able to climb the ranked ladder. You don't need it, but it's one of the things that could be very helpful. Alright, going into our second game of the day here, we have a few maps available. We have 2 push of New Queen Street and Esperanza and Kings Row, but we all know how ranked goes. It's going to be Kings Row voted for and Kings Row picked. Now, one of the best things about Kings Row, and I think one of the big reasons why it's so beloved, is just being able to play kind of any hero that you would want on this map, but of course making sure that our hero pick aligns with what our comp wants to do, or something that we at least have some idea on how to find value on, how to win the game on, is going to be the most important. Looking like a Domina ban and a Zarya, potentially. We see Venture, Zarya, Reinhardt, Vendetta. I'm really happy to see both of the Vens banned. When I'm playing support, a lot of times Vendetta and Venture can both make you feel pretty helpless. With Venture, their slow dig onto every support is going to be very difficult. Every time that they use their abilities will kind of cancel out a lot of support's damage, so it's going to be a very hard 1v1 hero. It's going to be a very hard hero to avoid. And Vendetta, similarly, it's going to be, once the Vendetta gets onto a backline, once they get onto a support, it's going to be very difficult and very hard to actually live or win that duel whatsoever. And it's also going to be pretty difficult to poke out. I'd prefer playing against Venture, or not, I'd prefer playing against Vendetta rather than Venture, because at least with Vendetta, I can shoot them on their way up, but with Venture, I can't even do that. But here we have Sigma, Onion, Mei, and Hatman. A few heroes that are viable here. We could be going Kiriko, we could be going potentially even Wu Yang. I think I'm going to be going Wu Yang here. We're going to be leaning pretty pokey with our team composition, but with our Onion and our Mei having a little bit of their own survivability, I'm going to be trying to be a little bit more greedy with my hero pick and just talk about some of the heroes and their own values. Here we see our Sigma falling low, so we're just going to be using Wave to keep him up. Wave is going to be the... Wow. Alright, I got domed. Wave is going to be one of, if not your most important cooldown on Wu Yang. It's going to be a very good survival tool for you. It's going to be your main form of healing people and keeping people up. Giving them an increased healing like buff is going to be very important here. We see the D.Va close inside of Hotel, so we don't want to walk quite yet. And we see a lot of people falling low HP, so we're going to use our Wave. We knock back the D.Va and we force out the rest of... And we're able to keep up all of the people remaining alive on our team. And here, because we are such a pokey comp, because the fight lasted long, our Sigma was able to live, our Mei was able to live, we are going to be closing this fight up. Even if you go down a few people, especially when you're on a very pokey comp, the fight is not over as long as you're keeping your people alive, as long as you're finding your damage through the time. So now that their Hanzo's back, I'm going to be looking for a lot of sort of blind shots. I think weeing into Hanzo is actually pretty dang good because I don't have to peek necessarily to get my value. We see our Sigma going crit and our Mei falling low. Our Onion's fighting the D.Va on the left side, so we're just going to be backing up and looking to poke out people as much as possible here. We see the Reaper going into our team. We're going to try to just keep up our Sigma as much as possible. Wave coming now. I wanted this D.Va away from me and trying to build my bubble as fast as possible, so I'm able to pop it onto my Sigma. Remembering last fight how if we're able to stay alive, if we're able to keep the important people up, then there's always a chance that we could turn it, but unfortunately they're going to be using quite a few ultimates to try and close out this fight, which I do not believe we are ready to actually deal with. Maybe a hero like Baptiste or a hero like Kiriko is going to be a really, really good tool to keep fights like that going very long, like keeping everybody alive as much as they need to, because the raw healing output is going to be a little bit better than weeing. Weeing, you're mainly kind of buying into the idea of poking out heroes. That, whoa. Alright, I'm gonna go carry. D.Va's walking up. I want to make sure that my team lives, so Rush comes out from the enemy team. I'm not getting a chance to read my perk. I forgot both of these. I forgot what they do. I just usually pick off of the symbol, but because the symbols are similar and it's been a second since I played weeing, I forgot what they do. I know the right one though. It's this one, but it doesn't matter because I'm swapping. We're going Baptiste here because, as we saw from the few fights, when we are able to keep everybody up, it's very, very strong, and we're going to be able to get a lot of value through our poke, but it's going to be pretty difficult to keep everybody up on weeing, even with solid wave usage. Sometimes healers just won't have the healing output that you need, and a lot of our damage and our hero value is getting mitigated by the D.Va, because they're able to eat a lot of our orbs. They're able to just sort of be a constant presence and sometimes even force out our waves. So we want to try to lean away from giving their D.Va value by being on weeing, and now on Baptiste it's going to be just a little bit harder for them to do what they want to do. But we are going to go down here. Kind of unfortunate, but we build a lot of charge onto our window. Our team is maybe going to stagger a little bit, which is going to be really scary. Our main thought process here is, because we're on such a back foot, we want to make sure that we do not die, we don't let anybody else die. So we want to be playing this super safe and building up our window so we can open up space for our team to use our ultimates properly. Bomb coming out. Hanzo's high ground. We need to make sure that we're not getting domed by this Hanzo, so we're going to be using our exo boots to kind of use this high ground for cover. Sunstrike comes out onto our high ground players, so our Onion goes down and our Sigma goes down. We need to see this D.Va booster out, and as soon as this D.Va uses boosters, we're going to be looking for our window. Blizzard used by our Mei, so we're going to be trying to frag as much as we can here. Lari falling one, but I don't have the mechanics to quite close out that kill. We are on Roadhog now, and now Bob is on the point. I'm going to let our Hog actually tank it and even pull him off the map. An amazing play by our Hog. Our Onion falling pretty low inside of the team. I'm going to give them Lamp. They're pulling a lot of attention and they force a lot of cooldowns, which opens up space for our Hog to walk. So I want to make sure that that advantage that they created does not get traded out by their death. So that's why it's okay to commit our Lamp there. It maintains the advantage that my team created. And here, just making sure that I carry them on our way out. Our Hog does go down, but we trade out very favorably for us, finding 2 kills for the one and the D.Va mech. Bomb coming out from the other side. So we just want to be chilling. We want to be trying to buy time, keep people up. We don't have to do anything fancy here, and it's very important that we actually don't give their Hanzo opportunities to dome us, to just find a random headshot across the map. while we wait for our tank to come back. And a lot of our swings and a lot of our aggression is going to be kind of based off of looking at the enemy team, where they're shooting, and seeing what attention my hog is taking. My hog took a lot of attention there, so Cole comes out from our side. And now we see the Alari popping their ult. Hanzo's peeking this high ground. I don't want to give them a chance to kill me, but I almost give it to them by missing my jump, and they do find it kind of randomly. A little bit unfortunate shot through that doorway. I think they were trying to hit my hog there. No, they did see me. Well played by the enemy Hanzo, but it will be enough for us to win this fight. I'm tempted to go the automated healing, while I think that it'll help keep my team up a little bit more. Now that they're on Reaper and swapping off of D.Va, if they're on a ground tank, I think I'm going to be taking I will be taking this, because I'm going to have a lot less people that can get onto me. It's only going to be the Reaper that can get onto me in the mid fight. And there the Reaper comes onto the high ground. We are going to fight that because we get him low and we have both of our cooldowns. Blizzard coming out, our hog goes down, our Mei goes down. We're going to look to window to remedy this fight, finding an early pick onto their Ana, making sure that everybody on my team stays alive. Unfortunately, my Onion had the exact same idea to try to clutch up that fight with an ultimate, so we used 2 when we really only needed 1. Either one would have been fine, but it's important that you're still going for those plays in ranks, because sometimes your teammates won't be looking for that, and it's always possible later to find some other sort of miracle play later. So we're just trying to poke down this Ana if we can, and the Reaper is going to be the main threat to us during this fight. It's going to be Reaper and their Hanzo logs, and Reaper actually stepping onto us are what we're going to be afraid of. We hear the Reaper TP, so we're going to pop our lamp, trying to keep our tank and our Mei alive so they're able to take a lot of damage for us later in the fight. We see the Hanzo trying to dash up onto us, so we're going to jump up, and so when he actually climbs up onto this high ground, we're not going to be inside of his LOS whatsoever. He'd have to look up, he'd have to try to find a much harder shot to hit to one-tap us, rather than if we were just jumping normally, or if we were kind of just like sitting there. If we didn't jump at all, their Hanzo would have a very easy one-shot potential. If we just jump normally, then he would only have to flick his mouse a little bit of ways. But Exo Boots, because I know that there's nobody on the ground that can one-shot me, it's very, very easy for me to just jump out of where their Hanzo's crosshair would be, and take an advantage duel that way, because I have a clear line of sight onto the top of his head, onto his noggin. I'm able to pump in my bullets very easily, and their shot is going to be very, very hard on me. Using your Exo Boots for things like that is going to be a very big part of the Baptiste micro and support micro in general, and finding ways to take advantage duels like that is going to be a huge, huge, huge deal when it comes to actually performing on this role, and DPS or support in general. Your movement and understanding how to take those advantage 1v1s is going to be a really, really important thing. I just saw that my I have some random thing on my task manager that's been taking up like a gazillion% of my GPU for some reason, so I really hope that this recording isn't laggy. We hit a really early hook onto their Sigma, so now that they're on Cassie, they have a really proper hit scan. I don't want to be using my Exo Boots nearly as much as I was in the last round, because with their Cassidy, especially with a hit scan that's going to be able to easily shoot the big arches that we sort of jumped in, we want to be staying a little bit more onto the ground, as strafes are going to be harder for more clicking heroes and hit scans in general to hit. It's going to be way harder for them to hit those strafing targets comparative to if I was jumping up and down. So here, my hog does go down, but we're going to be looking for some sort of trade. Unfortunately, we're not able to find it. Kind of sucks, really sucks. So strange. It's only when I'm in Overwatch does my desktop window manager just shoot up my GPU usage. Maybe I fucked some setting up. I'll look at it later. I just really hope this recording isn't laggy. So I'm getting a little bit distracted by that because I don't want to randomly jump from like silver to like halfway through placements and like flat or something. So we see their Hanzo top right. Us playing through main hasn't been that effective, but our soldier does win a 1v1. We see a lot of people pumping resources into our soldier, trying to secure that kill. We know that their Cassidy is not able to fight us main, so we're going to be able to freely jump up and down and get onto that high ground without the fear of getting too tapped on our big arches from our exo boot jumps. So we're going to be a-okay to push that high ground to catch out the person in our space, and now we will be capping the point off of that fight. Amazing. Taking the high ground, we don't want to be peeking this window at all. Anytime you're playing into Hanzo, small corridors like this are going to be really easy for them to just sort of spam out and find kind of lucky headshots. So we're going to be wanting to play a little bit more in freely open space so that we can get our value. So we hear Sun, we want to back up and to make ourselves a split target ideally. Popping window here to try to keep my Sigma up. If we're able to use this chance to fight the enemy team instead of fully resetting and stabilizing, it's going to be really, really nice. Our Mei finds a great blizzard and Cassidy flanks. We know our Moria's stepping right side onto this Cassidy, which I'm a little bit scared of, so I'm actually going to pay them some attention. We give up some card space, and I'm not able to help my Sigma with their flux, which could have been a little bit scary, especially if the enemy team was ready to match like with their own flux or something along those lines, because my front line did not have any supports in that moment. But making sure that my Moira stays alive and making sure that that Cassidy dies and won't cause any problems behind us later is more valuable than the lower chance of my team in the front line dying. Because if we kept my support up, there'd be a much higher chance that we would be able to clutch up later. So here, unfortunately, we're just kind of carpetched. We're going to have to sit here while our team pushes up. Now that there's a little bit of an animation, I can actually push up to get a little bit extra value, a little bit more poke. But now that the animation for the cart capping is over, we go back to the cart and just keep trying to do whatever we can. Can't be getting too aggressive here, but we are farming our windows slow and steadily. I'm thinking about how I want to take this fight. If we're ever able to see an opportunity where their Junkrat is committed somewhere not onto us, then we can just be taking one of the high grounds and popping our window. Ideally, I want to be getting off of cart here, and it looks like my team is going to be pushing themselves to get onto the cart. I'm really scared of this right side because sometimes a lot of people like to go Widowmaker and try to clean up, but looks like that's not the case, and we will be closing this game out. Another Baptiste game for the most part, but especially when we're playing in these sort of double hit scans or low mobility comms, Baptiste can be a very, very strong pick to just consistently pump out numbers, even if especially if you're playing like a shield game. If you're playing like Sigma v Sigma, it's very likely that you're just able to make a very big difference by healing your tank a lot more than the enemy supports would be able to, and pumping damage consistently into the enemy shield or the enemy tank or Sigma can be very, very, very valuable to actually winning games. For now, I will be right back. I'm actually going to end recording, make sure that it's okay, and then I will be playing just a few more games in this session, but if there's a little bit of a cut, sorry about that. Alright, hello, and we're back. Fixed the issue, I just need to update my graphics drivers. Looks like the recording before was still pretty fine, so I'm happy about that. Now I think I have a different issue. What the fuck? Looking like a lot of brawlier options here. When it comes to the map selection, Lijiang, Nepal, and Atlas all available. We do get Nepal, can be a little bit more of a pokey map, could be a little bit more of a brawly map. Some dive heroes can struggle. Looking like we're going to be having a potential, very much so, or possible Domina ban, and maybe a Cat ban or a Detta ban as well. Probably Detta, I'd imagine. Yep, we get both actually. The enemy team has banned both Cat and Vendetta. Very good for us, I think. Cat can be a little bit annoying to play against, and Vendetta can be very annoying to play against. We have Kowalski on tank, the expert leader of the Penguin crew, so I think that we're going to be looking in pretty good shape for this game. My desktop window manager is still taking 50% of my GPU for no reason, so that is not exactly what we like to see. And now Overwatch is taking 80% after my graphics driver was updated. So I'm kind of frowning about the performance of my computer right now. I don't know exactly what's going wrong or why things are the way that they are. OBS taking 40% of my CPU now. I'm hoping, especially now that the recording is still okay, I'm just going to play like it will be. I'm a little bit nervous about the stats going on in my computer, but I don't think much that I can do about it at this exact moment, so I'm just going to ball out. Picking Baptiste when I see the Sigma. We have a super Poke comp once more. Poke is just running rampant today in today's lobbies. So I see my Wing going this high ground. I'm going to make sure that I'm in a position to care my Sigma if they need it, though. We see their Genji. I'm going to be taking this right side because this allows me to do two things. I'm able to help all of the people main and my Ashe if they want to be taking power positions on the map. I'm able to care my Echo, fight out their shooters, and immediately as I see my Sigma get pressured, I can drop to point and help them fight point as well. And now high ground's going to be open once more, and it's just I'm a quick exo boot away from going back up there and fighting the soldier. My Sigma's taking a lot of damage. I'm not confident that I can actually help this. I'm going to go fight and clear that soldier off high ground because they're going to be a real pain later in the fight. And unfortunately, we are going to be going down a few people. Genji looking to try to clean us up. We just need to be ready to fight this 1v1 that we will fortunately win. We get initial flip. Now we're just trying to stabilize as much as we can. Our Sigma is coming back into this fight, which is an amazing time for us to start getting active. Our Sigma is going to be taking some early pressure. Their soldier is also back in this fight. But we're going to try to poke out the Zarya as much as we can. They finally get the flip back. Our Sigma's on this left side, so we're going to take this left side as well. We know that we see them get slept, so we're going to try to keep them alive. But we are not able to close it out. We miss all of our shots on the Genji. I advise not doing that. But while we get the point for most of it, we will be losing that elongated first fight. Making sure that we're keeping the high grounds on this map, or control over the high grounds on this map, is going to be pretty important. Our team wants to walk up without their supports. Not much we can really do about that, and Soldier is going to be pathing to this right side. Important to try to keep our lamp if we can. Their Soldier has a very high chance of trying to catch us out, though. Soldier coming back through main area may wants to look for a wall onto it, making sure that we just don't get one shot by it, and we're still in a position to care our Sigma later as they get stepped on. Sigma's starting to get stepped on. We're going to chuck a few orbs over there and help our side lane fight as well. So our Mei cleans up the Ana. See our team falling low, and we just will clean up that fight. The name of the game for almost every flex support is just finding the spot where you can do your job the best. You can pump out damage, you can keep everyone who you need to keep alive, and it's going to be really hard for the enemy team to get onto you. Now, our position is going to have to be a little bit more dynamic now that they're on Tracer. Something that a lot of supports don't necessarily consider is if you don't have anything to do on frontline, sometimes it's good to go fight out the space that you're going to need later early. I saw that my Sigma wasn't being pressured whatsoever, and I saw that the Tracer was staging a little bit early. So I went to go fight out that Tracer. I went to go force them out before they would become an issue because I had the chance, I had the opportunity to. And now because of that, I'm free to just pump in healing. I'm free to pump in damage to the front line this entire fight because I dealt with that Tracer very early. This is an idea that's especially important when you're playing very mobile or main support heroes like Lucio, for example. We see this Tracer, she's going to be dropping probably from this high ground, but will not get the touch in time. Remembering, whenever we don't have any real healing to do on the front line or damage to do on the front line, we can just turn around and look for any additional value onto those flankers. Finding our DLC value is going to be how we actually end up carrying these games. I mentioned it on the first video of the support playthrough here. But mechanics are going to be a very important part of especially climbing on flex support, not as needed for main support. Either way, it's going to be a very brain-based role. You're going to need to be thinking, what fights can I take, what fights am I capable of winning, and where do I need to position to do my job. So that's going to be the most important part, is just always remembering what your job is. Here we're going to be swapping to Alari instead of Wu Yang. That really doesn't change that much. Alari and Wu Yang do very, very similar things. Playing primarily for their damage, going to have similar levels of healing. I think Wu Yang does a little bit more healing, Alari a little bit more consistent damage. We hear the Genji on the left side. It's something that we're just going to want to like keep in the back of our mind as we heal this frontline exchange, keep our Sigma up. Between every shot, just making sure that we're checking behind us, and we see this Genji get trapped because of it. Our Junkrat goes to fight the Genji, so we don't have to worry about it too much yet, but we do want to try to keep our Junkrat alive. Because they're on double flex DPS, or very like more mobile heroes to get onto us, there's a lot bigger threat of a lot bigger threat of people actually like getting onto us and brawling and fighting, like their Genji or their Tracer diving us. So I'm picking the jump boost perk to give myself a lot more mobility to match that and give myself a little bit more survivability, rather than the automated healing perk, because the automated healing perk is amazing for better raw numbers when you're playing a more front to back matchup, when you're not having to fight those 1v1s, when you don't need that extra survivability and mobility. The automated healing is awesome, but because I'm going to be having to fight 1v1s, I want a little bit of extra mobility to make those fights a little bit easier, or maybe even potentially not take them in the first place. Here we see Genji Tracer walking up, and we see our Sigma gain pressure. We're going to try to fight off the Genji Tracer as much as we can, but eventually still coming back to our frontliners when things get tough. Now we know that our Sigma is going to be out, so the enemy team is going to be walking a lot, so we're trying to position at the back of the map to make it really difficult for the enemy team to get onto us, because we have the idea of we want to be playing for our window. When you go down a player, it's not an immediate fight loss, especially your tank. You need to understand or try to recognize and identify, what do your teammates provide for you? What is your Sigma doing to help you win the game? And our Sigma ideally is taking a lot of the aggression, they're taking a lot of the damage, and holding the space for you. They're making it harder for the enemy team to get onto you as one of the squishies, as one of the supports. So now, as soon as we see our Sigma go down, we recognize, hey, my Sigma's not able to do their job anymore. That means that it's very likely they're going to want to run at me. So I need to adjust my positioning with the idea that they are going to have a much easier time getting onto me. So I need to make it harder to get onto me, even if it means less value. I can back up because of that reason. Especially when you have a lot of individual value and potential with your window. it's going to be really, really, really important to make sure that you're able to get your individual value, you're able to get your ultimate off and not be ran down early. So recognizing that you can't hold that aggressive space, you are going to get ran at pretty soon and they're going to try to blow you up, is a really important thing when you're playing any support. Going into what's probably going to be our last game of the day here, we have Dorado, Suravasa, and Havana. All pretty fun maps for support. Ideally, I want to see a Dorado. I'd like to talk about some Ana if I can, and we do roll Dorado, which is quite awesome. I am going to continue trying to fill the best that I can and pick the best ranked hero possible. Ideally leaning away from some more mechanical heroes. I've been just playing a lot of Baptiste today. While I think there are a lot of good lessons in that, and I think that there are a lot of really important ideas, and you don't need crazy mechanics to get to high ranks on the support. While it's important and it's nice, I am leaning into them a little bit, even subconsciously, because my idea and my thought process of, okay, I can take this fight because I know I can win this 1v1, or I can fight this fight. I know that's not a skill set that everybody has, so I'd like to play or lean into some supports that don't necessarily need that. Though almost all of the positions I'm playing and all of the spots I'm ending up are good if you hit the shots or if you don't hit the shots. There's just a few instances, like on last map where I go to duel the Tracer early, where it might just be better to rotate to the other side of the map if you don't feel confident in that 1v1. So here we're seeing a Emre, we're seeing an Onion, we're seeing an Ana. A little bit curious about what my tank is going to go here, but it's looking like I might play a Brigitte here. We are on Orisa. So a few ideas here. We can be playing Brigitte, we can be playing Ilari, we can be playing Lucio, we can be playing Mizuki, potentially even a Wu Ying. I think I am going to be going Brigitte though. Hopefully tomorrow I'm going to be having a kind of complete like Lucio episode. That would be wonderful. But Brigitte, the idea behind the Brigitte pick here is that our Orisa will be a little bit more free to sort of brawl and sit onto the cart if I'm going to be protecting our shooters and our backline, as well as our Onion, who's going to be flying all over the place and very mobile. We're going to be able to pack it very easily. We hear the Tracer pathing towards this right side, so we want to be trying to mark it out. We know that they're behind us now, so we turn around, we force out their Tracer. They're going to be a very little threat now, so we can be looking at their frontline. Main support, I mentioned in the last episode, is going to be kind of the denial role. So we're just trying to deny the value of like their Tracer as much as possible. We're going to try to deny them from getting onto us as much as possible. We know that there's very little threat to our front line, and now our Onion is marking the Tracer. We're going to be in a position ready to catch our Onion though. We're going to use all three of our packs, which will be okay because we end up trading out their Tracer. Our Orisa has to give a little bit of space, and they had a kill potential onto our front line. Now that we are up a lot of people, it's time for us to get involved and start brawling on Brig, because there's very little chance of us dying, and it's a there's a lot of value to be gotten by just swinging and brawling as Brigitte. This is the most common misconception, even with higher ranked Brig players, of never ever wanting to walk, or you're just basically just like sticking onto your backline for the entire game. It's not always the case. Once you have the time to walk, once you have the time to brawl, you want to be getting in there, you want to be brawling. Keeping an eye on our Ana here. I'm not able to do too much for our Orisa, but we should recognize that they are walking out of our Ana LOS. So we want to put a few packs into our Orisa, since they're not going to be getting care from their Ana inside that room. And we will be closing out that fight. We do happen to use our Orisa ult and our we're using our Orisa ult and our Emre ult, but that will be okay. We have our rally ready for this fight. I'm going to pick the pack perk, I think, and just go to fight out this Tracer. Queen falling onto me. I am going to pop a rally and be brawling on the front line, making sure that we're still, even though we have our ultimate up, we know that we did not fully force out that Tracer, and we want to be careful and considerate of the potential damages there. Tracer falling very low. We're not able to get any packs off. We're going to do our best to live, so we're able to help our Orisa try to recontest. So Tracer's looking for their Pulse Bomb. As Brigitte, Tracer versus Brig is going to be like one of the main matchups that you'll run into and probably want to practice if you get the chance. Here we are staying in the middle of this sort of like triangle, ready to care our Orisa as well as our backliners. But as our backliners start to get a little bit more pressure and a little bit more into them, I want to lean more towards our Orisa since it's be less likely for us to die. Our Onion's on the point, so we're just going to pack them and not fight ourselves while we try to regenerate. More packs onto our Onion and just ready to step up whenever they get forced out. As they get forced out, we walk onto the point. If we stepped up a little bit earlier, while we might have been able to get a little bit more damage, we were ultimately fighting a 2v4 on the point, so it was going to be very unlikely that we would actually find a lot of kills there. The best option to being able to win that fight was trying to sort of stagger our touches, go one by one, and me hopping on after our Onion so we could buy time to get our tank back into the fight. Fortunately, we did not stall for long enough, but they did use their Pulse Bomb, and now we're going to be going back to this sort of neutral area. We see this Genji who wants to be getting onto our Ana. Because of that, I can't walk up forward that much. We see our Onion fighting their side lane. Not needing packs yet, but our Ana finds the kill onto their Tracer. We don't see their Genji yet, so we want to make sure that we're keeping in mind our Ana positioning as well as our Brig. We see most of the people that we need to see right now, so they use ultimates on the point. This is not a completely lost fight yet, especially if we can bait this Genji to dash in. I might even break my shield to try to get him to dash in, but it will not be enough. I'm going to top rally to clear this Junker Queen inside of us. And we are able to win that exchange. Our tank is back into the fight, and our Ana is safe. I missed the jump since I'm a parkour noob. Wait. Hold on. I think it's gonna work. Nice. And then I just need my second bash to get up there. I don't know if that's faster or not, but it's fun. Something you can do. We know the Tracer's behind. She has Pulse Bomb again, so we're going to be looking to block it. I was mentioning a little bit earlier, Tracer versus Brig is going to be a pretty important matchup for you to be comfortable in. Pulse Bomb is going to be a very big factor of that. Being able to block pulses consistently is going to be a very big deal on Brigitte. We know our Emre is main and not helping our Orisa fight right now. So while there's a lot of ults coming out, we know that the enemy team has a lot of their own ults, and Junker Queen especially. So we're just going to try to sit on this high ground, making sure that we're proccing Inspire as much as we can and healing everybody who we need to. And catching out that Tracer a little bit later into the fight. Now we're going to be going back up to that high ground. I was really scared to brawl there. As Brigitte, a lot of your carry potential comes from after you force out all of the big threats, after everybody is kind of low and ultimates are being used. Your final step is going to be a lot of like your carry potential when you actually start brawling onto the enemy team. But recognizing when it's a little bit too risky for you, it's okay to chill until you see something a little bit further, or a little bit more out, a little bit, or the fight's a little bit less scary for you to step on. Recognizing that and knowing exactly what you can get away with is exactly what's going to make good Brigitte players, as well as their skill at denying enemy teams plays until the fight gets to that point where they're able to just sort of step in and start running down people. Now, looking at a Pharah, Emre, Orisa, we're going to be playing a very, very pokey comp. I think the best pick here is going to be a Lari instead of Brigitte. Brigitte is going to have a lot of trouble sort of like stepping and brawling because we're playing such a poke comp. We're only going to have mainly our Orisa taking a lot of aggression, so it's going to be hard for us to really step in and do a lot in close quarters. We're not going to get many opportunities to do so. So Brig might struggle a little bit here. The only idea behind Brig is going to be just being able to deny people very easily, which I think Lucio might just be a little bit better at. I don't have my Lucio controls set though, and I don't really want to set them up, so I'm going back Brig. So now we see that they're on Tracer once more. We see their Genji dash in onto our Emre, so we're actually going to just walk over and try to completely force that out. Still not enough value or not enough scary things forced out for us to be able to step though, but we're just going to be in constant space ready to care all the people that we need to care, keeping our Ana alive so we can try to help our Orisa later. But it will not be enough, unfortunately. We took a little too long to turn for enforce out the Tracer. Trying to greed our packs a little bit and make sure that they are used when needed. Just barely keeping our Emre alive. Genji dashing in and Zarya walking in. I did not think they had pulse, damn. They are going to be closing a few other ults here. The Zarya's been doing quite a bit, so we can be expecting a grab potentially soon. Not much we can do about it. And I'm not actually going to go clear that Tracer. I'm just going to hope that my Pharah walks into my pack range. It's going to be kind of hard for me to deal with this Tracer. I really don't want to get caught in grab if I can afford not to. Because I have my rally coming up here, if I'm able to, I'd like to win the fight with rally, using it pretty late, but I do get caught in the grab. I'm walking up to make sure that I get my Orisa armor, but it's unfortunately too little too late. The rest of my team is looking to be somewhat okay. Their Genji blocks our bash, which really sucks. Trying to put some packs into our team here and doing whatever we can to try and live. We're on Winston now instead of our Orisa, which is going to be very, very chill. But we are going to try to frontline as Winston, so it's going to not result in a fight win. This is really bad because I kind of wasted my rally. I didn't use it properly and I wasn't able to keep my Orisa up like I planned. It's going to be way harder to win this game. Baptiste is going to be a very safe pick. Lucio's not bad. I'm going to go Baptiste though because we want to be playing very slow and very pokey. The Genji and the Tracer haven't been doing all that much. It's been mainly like their Zarya walking that's been causing us a lot of issues. So we're going to be going Baptiste with the idea that poking out the Zarya is going to be the best way to deny their team. But unfortunately our Ram goes down a little bit early and we're looking to be in a pretty tough situation here. Definitely still winnable, matching the Zarya. We're still wanting to play a lot more pokey. Our team walking up without us so means that there's a very high chance of them staggering, which kind of sucks. Lamp coming out onto the Grav. We're scared of Pulse Bomb here, so we need to put a considerable amount of attention into the Tracer, and we are fortunately able to win that duel and start pushing the card. This is still looking somewhat risky or scary for us, but now that we know that they don't have Grav, we're going to be in a much better mind to actually win this fight. Ideally, right now, all I'm thinking about is trying to think, how can I build my window and get in a good spot to win this fight? But it will not even be needed. Our fire hits an amazing barrage. And we are closing out this point. Baptiste swap making things a little bit easier just by being able to keep people alive a little bit longer. And actual raw damage numbers are going to be the pressure that we need to win this game. You can be doing more on Lucio compared to Brigitte. I just wasn't on Lucio. Because my controls weren't set, and I don't want to build bad habits on the hero by playing not with my controls. Though Lucio probably could have helped us cap way easier, especially with beat. Genji's on this high ground. We're going to be helping our DPS develop this high ground and carrying our main however we can. We see that our Ana is falling low. 2 people go crit, so I'm going to be trying to care them as much as I can. I get a little bit distracted by the Genji and end up forgetting to care my Sojourn. Which really sucks. Tracer behind. I'm going to just be cutting to this high ground though. Trying to keep up my Zarya as much as possible. This is a really good opportunity to window and find some kills. With window, I think a very big misconception with a lot of Baptiste players is you need to be using it to try to enable your team, when ultimately Baptiste gun fucking hurts. It really hurts, and if you window yourself selfishly, it's going to be the most consistent way to get value. That's not the perk that I wanted. That's okay. It's going to be a very consistent way to get value and just kind of close out fights. Especially on very high ground based maps like this. Zarya's falling low. I have my lamp still ready to put onto the point. I'm a little bit scared of somebody dying to pulse bomb, so I just throw it over there in case anybody walks into it. And we will be closing out this game. Now, I'm a little bit upset because I did swap off Brigitte to rely on my mechanics there. But I do believe that Brig was possible to win that game if I used my rally a little bit better, if I was a little bit less hesitant on it, and I played a little bit more aggressively on some of those attack fights. It would have been much, much, much better to win. And I think that Lucio would have been even easier to perform that. You don't necessarily need mechanics. You don't need to be able to play these flex supports to climb in ranks, but it does make things a little bit easier sometimes. But that'll be it for today. Thank you for tuning in to Overwatch Everyday again. We're ending with Gold 2, 6 out of 10 placements. We have not dropped a game on support yet. Kind of unfortunate that we're not climbing that fast, and we might end up taking a little bit to get to higher ranks on support. I think I do have a champion support account right now, so probably next episode I might weave in a game on that there, just to sort of show that I'm doing the exact same things in low ranks as I am in high ranks. With tank, it was kind of climbing so fast I didn't feel the need to specify that, but here definitely with support probably looking to be a little bit lower rank for a little bit, I will definitely show what some champ games look like. But thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye bye.